Hello everyone and welcome back to Coach Craig Sports. Today is Thursday, so we're going to be taking a look at the single game slate, the showdown slate on both DraftKings and FanDuel for Thursday Night Football. So this is the game between the Los Angeles Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. So I'm going to start off by giving you guys my player pool, the guys that are in play particularly for me. If somebody's not on this list, it doesn't mean that you can't play them. It just means they're not somebody I'm particularly looking to. But you're always going to have players that kind of end up in that filler category as well as some core captain plays here. And then we're going to build two lineups probably on DraftKings and probably two lineups on FanDuel as well. But without further ado, we'll get into it, and we'll start off with the player pool for the DraftKings side. So Cooper Kupp's up there. He's $12,400. Pretty expensive for a wide receiver, honestly, on a showdown slate. He is the most expensive player, I do believe, on the DraftKings side. I'll just say with Cooper Kupp, too, I don't think he's probably going to get a lot of ownership just because of his price being so expensive. So if you're in a big GPP, definitely a pivot play there. Both quarterbacks in play. Russell Wilson is $11,800. Matthew Stafford, $11,400. Definitely can take a look at both of them. Probably going to keep them out of the captain spot, though. I think that's going to be a little bit popular and probably not going to give you too much leverage. Plus, it opens up a little bit of flexibility in terms of pricing. DK Metcalf, $10,200. I do like him as one of my favorite kind of like pivot captain plays just because he's still a pretty good wide receiver. I know everybody's kind of got this stigma that just Jalen Ramsey owns him. He always shuts him down and whatnot, too. Jalen Ramsey has not been shadowing quite as much this year, too. So I think a lot of people are kind of going to be going away from DK Metcalf. And it doesn't mean that he can't have a big game. We still see wide receivers score touchdown, even against Jalen Ramsey as well. So it's not like it's impossible. And if you're playing in like a big GPP, I think he's definitely somebody to consider for your core captain in this matchup. Then we got Tyler Lockett just below him, $9,600. He's going to be there. He's going to be one of the guys I'm considering a core captain play as well. Robert Woods, I assume, is probably going to be pretty popular just because he's $7,600 in general. Pretty good price there. Seems like the community really loves Robert Woods. I'm not sure exactly how much the DFS community loves him, but I know fantasy football loves him for sure. And at that price point, definitely going to have a decent amount of exposure to him, and I think he's going to be pretty popular tonight. Darrell Henderson at $8,400. I think this is a little bit underrated play. I don't mind him in the captain spot either. Going against a poor Seattle run defense so far this season, and he's looked good when he's been on the field, when he hasn't been injured. So he is definitely in play for me tonight, and I don't expect him to be like super, super popular. I think he'll get a decent amount of ownership, but nothing that's like really over the top. Then you got into like this messy range. There was like the tight ends, your Van Jeffersons, your Freddie Swains. I do have Van Jefferson on here at $4,800. It's not the worst price in the world, but when you compare it to some of the other slates that he's been on, it's a little bit more. And then both kickers are in play. Both kickers are actually relatively cheap on this slate, $3,600 and $3,400. Jason Myers at $3,400. I like that price point quite a bit. I don't go chasing kickers, but if it ends up happening, it ends up happening at the same time. Then Alex Collins for $3,200. There's a chance that Chris Carson does not play in this game. Maybe by the time you're actually watching this video, Chris Carson's already been ruled out. So Alex Collins, I expect to be a very popular play. He might just be one of those plays that you just kind of have to eat the chalk on for $3,200 if he's the starting running back. Looking pretty good. If you want to go off of him, you can go to Travis Homer for $1,000. Probably going to be a pest catching back once again in this matchup. And then last but not least, my $200 dart throw is Colby Parkinson. He played quite a bit of snaps his first week back off from IR, and he really didn't have any stats, but he was out there. He was being used. They used him in line, in the slot, a little bit out wide as well, too. He's a very versatile tight end. If Gerald Everett does not play once again, Will Dissly's going to get the bulk load of the snaps, followed by Colby Parkinson. And even if Everett plays, maybe you take a look at Parkinson, maybe you get lucky in a touchdown, a couple catches. He doesn't have to do too much to pay off for $200. And if Everett's playing, nobody's going to be playing Colby Parkinson. I can almost guarantee you that. And even if Everett misses, probably still nobody's going to play him because he didn't put up any points last week. So that's kind of my dart throw for this slate overall. Once again, the core captain plays are going to be DK Metcalf. I don't think he's going to be very popular. Tyler Lockett. Robert Woods is going to be up there, and then Darrell Henderson. So if I had to pick my two favorites, probably at this point in time, it'd be DK Metcalf and Darrell Henderson. Then on the FanDuel side, we got both quarterbacks in play. Matthew Stafford, $16,000. Russell Wilson, $15,500. Cooper Kupp, $14,000. So still pretty priced up over there as well. I do not really have a problem getting to him if that's what you really want to do. Maybe you go Stafford and Kupp and you kind of punt Russell Wilson out of your lineup. There's a lot of different ways you can actually play this slate, especially on that FanDuel side. Darrell Henderson, $13,000. A little bit more priced up over here, respectively. I do think he's definitely in play once again. DK Metcalf, $12,500. You kind of heard my thoughts on the DraftKings side. Pretty similar there. Then we got Tyler Lockett, $12,000. Not too much else I can say about him. I think a lot of people are going to be going to Lockett instead of Metcalf. If you go to Metcalf, you can, make your lineup a little bit more unique. Probably pick up a couple percentage points of ownership there. Then Robert Woods at $10,000. I think that's a pretty fair price once again, and I think he's probably going to be pretty popular as well. Van Jefferson at $9,500. If you want to get off of Robert Woods, going to Van Jefferson might be a good little pivot play there at $9,500. And honestly, they've been seeing pretty similar production, even though Robert Woods is getting more snaps. Both kickers in play once again. Matt Gay, $9,000. Jason Myers, $8,500. If I was playing a kicker, still going to go to Jason Myers just to save that extra couple $100. Then Alex Collins is $7,500. I expect him to be pretty popular on the FanDuel side as well. $7,500 is nothing to sneeze at. Pretty good money-saving play there overall. Then we got Freddie Swain at $6,500. I really don't mind this price at all. He's been playing quite a bit this year. He's had the one big game, but hasn't done too much since. But there is a chance that he gets involved in this game as well. Then we got Will Disley at $6,000. If Gerald Everett doesn't play that, he's definitely in play at that price tag. And then Colby Parkinson at $5,000. Probably not playing him on the FanDuel side, but just somebody of note once again. So as far as the core captain plays, you can look at either quarterback. I expect both of them to be super popular. DK Metcalf is definitely up there, Darrell Henderson, and then probably Tyler Lockett after that. Also look at Cooper Kupp because he might be a little bit more chalky in that captain spot, though, on FanDuel. I wouldn't be surprised with that, so maybe you go to Robert Woods in that case. Maybe you go to Van Jefferson and really change it up. There's definitely a lot of different ways to play this slate tonight, and I think it's going to be a very interesting game and a very interesting DFS slate as well. So we're going to get over to DraftKings now. We're going to build a lineup. So I'm going to start off this first lineup with DK Metcalf in the captain spot. So that means we're going to be playing Russell Wilson in the flex spot as well. So now you have to make a decision point. Do you want to put Matthew Stafford in there and really limit your budget? Or do you want to pivot off the second quarterback and go somewhere else? We could go to Darrell Henderson here, who I do like a lot. We can go down to Alex Collins, since pretty much, I'm not going to say pretty much everybody's going to play him, but I assume he's going to be very chalky if Chris Carson does miss. I just want to take a look real quick, just see the price tag on Chris Carson. I can't remember off the top of my head. So Chris Carson is $6,600. So if he ends up playing, he might be a good little pivot play, just because he's not relatively pricey. Everybody assumes he's just kind of going to be out, but if he does play, I don't think a lot of people are going to switch over to him, and you can definitely pivot there, make up some ground, and definitely make your lineup a little bit more unique as well. But with what we got going right now, we have 3 Seattle Seahawks, 1 Rams player. They're $11,300 left over. We could go with the Tyler Lockett here as well. It would give us $1,700. You could go down to a Travis Homer, but if we're already playing Alex Collins in the passing game, we're probably not too excited there. Let's see. If we take Tyler Lockett out, though, let's just say we play Robert Woods. So then we'd have $3,700, and we'd have Darrell Henderson and Robert Woods, and then you could put in either kicker that you want here. You could go anybody lower here. So we're just going to go with Jason Myers in this case. So we're going to have DK Metcalf, Russell Wilson, Darrell Henderson, Alex Collins, Robert Woods, and Jason Myers. That's not a bad looking lineup to me. This might be one that I actually end up playing myself, but I'm going to clear this one out real quick. We'll start over in a different captain spot. This time it's going to be with Darrell Henderson in the captain spot, since he was my second favorite choice. So Darrell Henderson in the captain spot. Like I always say, though, single game slates, you're trying to tell a narrative. If Darrell Henderson goes off, says he has the 2 touchdowns, then Matt Stafford's probably not getting the touchdowns. He could still get some touchdowns. Definitely could happen. This could be a high-scoring game. But if I'm putting him up there in the captain spot, expecting him to have a pretty big game, I'm probably going to go away from Matthew Stafford in this one, and probably going to go away from some of the pass-catching options on their side as well. So we're going to go with Russell Wilson. I'm going to jam him in there. We're We're going to put Tyler Lockett in just because he wasn't there the past time. I don't have a problem putting like a Robert Woods here either, just because like you can make the narrative that Robert Woods gets that rushing touchdown and then you're still away from Stafford and then you still have Henderson as well. Although if he gets the rushing touchdown, it might affect Henderson a little bit too. And this is a case where we have $8,400. I might look at a guy like Freddie Swain here, $4,600, definitely in play. And then once again, we can get to either kicker here if we want to. We can put an Alex Collins in. So if you want a pretty chalky lineup, I throw Alex Collins in, but then Freddie Swain's your differentiation point and Darrell Henderson up here in the captain spot. Otherwise, we could go back in. We could put a kicker, and this time I'm just going to put Matt Gay in. This is a good little stack. I'm not going to lie, honestly. So, that's kind of a lineup I'd be pretty comfortable with. I think I like that first one just a little bit more, but I do like Darrell Henderson quite a bit in that captain spot. I definitely think it could pay off tonight. But once again, as always, with single game DFS slates, if you're using an optimizer, go in there, optimize to your liking, go through the lineup, see what you like, see what stands out to you, and just kind of go from there. If you're building by hand, kind of like this, figure out the guys that you really want to play, figure out the narrative you want to play. And if you're playing in a single entry, then obviously that's great because single entry, you just have to tell one narrative. If you're playing a 20 max, then you can kind of build up 20 little narratives. I know most games only have about 4 different narratives they can go, but you can still have pivots within each one as well. So we're going to take a look on the FanDuel side as well. I know I did kind of mention Cooper Kupp in the captain spot over here. I think that might be a little more popular though. So if we go with DK Metcalf once again, kind of pivoting off that Tyler Lockett that's $500 cheaper. And Tyler Lockett hasn't been the best against the Rams either. So it's not like it's just this DK Metcalf story against Jalen Ramsey. So since we're playing him, we're going to play Russell Wilson as well. We can go to Matt Stafford. However, if we do go to Matt Stafford, then we only have $16,000 left over. We'll just put that in real quick just to see how it looks. So then we're looking at guys. We can do a Robert Woods, but then we really, really have to pay down. We can do an Alex Collins here. If we do Alex Collins, that makes some sense. And then you could do a Jason Myers. So in this one, you would have DK Metcalf, Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford, Alex Collins, and Jason Myers. So in this one, you'd think DK Metcalf has a big game that benefits Russell Wilson as well. Matthew Stafford's padding his stats, really spreading the ball around, though. And then you have Alex Collins kind of running out the clock if he's the main running back. And then Jason Myers doing what he does, kicking extra points and field goals. So that's definitely a storyline that we can tell there. I want to do a Darrell Henderson one again. So we're going to put him up in the top spot. I'm going to go all Rams on this. Or not all Rams, but mainly Rams. So we're going to go Darrell Henderson, Matthew Stafford. We're going to go Robert Woods. I almost said maybe we should go Van Jefferson there just because I think Robert Woods is going to be a lot more chalky, and there's only a $500 difference there, and the production between the two is really not that different at this point in time. You could go with Tyler Lockett, and then if we go Tyler Lockett, we could put Matt Gay in. So we are building a 4-in-1 stack on the FanDuel side, so we have 3 Rams players plus the kicker and Matt Gay, and then Tyler Lockett on the bring back trying to catch up, point chase that way. So that's a viable option as well. Like I said, on these slates, there is so many different ways you can go. And like I always say, just be creative, be unique when you're building these. Tell that story. Figure out where it works for you. You can kind of figure out which plays are going to be chalky if you guys have any questions about that. I don't have like ownership percentages in front of me or projected ownerships, but I have a pretty good idea of where people are probably going to be going as well. But with that being said, that's all I have for tonight's slate. And I think it's going to be a pretty good one. I think it's going to be a pretty good game, as I mentioned today, as I mentioned in yesterday's video. Speaking of which, if you guys have any start-sit decisions for this game, be sure to check out yesterday's video. I went over all of that in pretty good detail as well. But with that being said, if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Definitely would appreciate it. It helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewer, helping you with your fantasy football team, helping you with DFS, whether it's NFL or NBA, talking all the different NFL news. There's a lot of injuries in play this week, so those are going to come up on starts and sits. Once we get closer to the 2022 NFL draft, I'll be covering some of the prospects for that draft as well. And with that being said, if you are a new or current subscriber who's yet to do so, also hit that notification bell down below. It's going to let you know every single time I post up a new video. Tomorrow's Friday, so that will be the Dollar Store Stacks video. So that's where we're looking at the DFS main slate, which essentially is building cheap value stacks between quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, so we can pay up for our studs elsewhere. But with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed. And then last but not least, special little shout out to each and every one of you. I truly do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Definitely means a lot to me, and I hope each and every one of you has a great rest of your day.